Hey friends, thank you all so much for joining me. If you're new to my channel, my name is Nat. I've been a hairstylist for over 20 years and I love makeup. Today we're checking out what's new at Singe Beauty. These products have been out for about a month now. We have the new Succulent Dew eyeshadow palette and the 4 new shades of the Evocative Silk blushes. These blushes retail for $25 Canadian each on both their website and at ifeelbeautiful.ca, which is where I purchased mine. But on the Singe Beauty website, you can do a bundle. 3 blushes of your choice for $67 Canadian. That's a savings of $8. And the palette on their website is $63 Canadian, and on ifeelbeautiful.ca, it's $62 Canadian. Let's read off their website quickly. The Succulent Dew eyeshadow palette is inspired by the quiet magic of early morning, when dewdrops cling to purple and teal succulents, catching the light and shifting with every movement. This palette captures that moment in pigment, blending vibrant tones with radiant light-reflecting finishes for eyes that feel alive, dimensional, and effortlessly striking. The palette features 10 pigmented mattes, including one with micro shimmer, 1 holographic duochrome, 3 sparkly metallics, 1 iridescent duochrome topper, and 1 multichrome shadow. Look at how beautiful this cover art is, with the hints of the dewdrops. Just such great detailing. This is what the palette looks like. Let's swatch it. First up, we have Dew. Agave. Oh wow, that's so pretty. Fog. Aloe. Wow. Avonia, I think that's how you say it. This is the matte with the micro shimmer. Mist. Prenia or Prenia. Astridia. Drip. Ooh. Look at that. Rabia or Rabia. Damp. Live Forever. Drop. Ooh, look at this one. Spiderwort. Opalina. I think that's how you say it anyway. And the last shade is Bronzia. These are the shades of the Succulent Dew palette and different lighting. What a pretty color story. Now let's watch the blushes. First up, we have Classy Cloudberry. This one's kind of on the nude side. Oh, so pretty. Look at that sheen. Fearless Fig. This is the lavender one. Likeable Lychee. For those of you wondering, you can say lychee or lychee. Lychee is how you say it in Cantonese, and lychee is closer to the way that it sounds in Mandarin. And lastly, we have Pretentious Plum. Ooh, this is so bright and vibrant. These are the new shades of the Evocative Silk blushes and different lighting. So pretty, right? I'm going to do 4 looks today, 1 on each eye, and then I'm going to pair each eye look with a blush. For look number 1, let's start off with the shade Rabia, or Rabia, however you say it. I'm just going in with Eyeshadow 03. What an interesting shade. And we're putting this just at the brow bone. Or if you have a crease, it'll be just in the crease, slightly above. Now let's do the shade Spiderwort and an EO6 from Singe Beauty. Starting at the outer corner, let's just push in some pigment. Oh, wow. Have any of you guys picked up this palette? Or are thinking of picking up this palette? That's one pigmented mid-tone purple. So pretty, right? Now just pulling it across my lash line. I love Singe Beauty products. I find the eyeshadows to be so easy to work with, and the blushes just have the most beautiful finish on them. Back to the Eyeshadow 03 with no added pigment on it, just so we can soften out the edges. Let's deepen things up with the shade Opalina, going in with a Eyeshadow 00 and patting in some pigment first. Using little circular motions, let's blend this up into the crease area. Now I'm just going back in with Spiderwort and the EO6 from Singe Beauty, and I think I want to just pack this in the center. Let's go back to the shade Rabia and Evocative 02. I just want to put some in the inner third. Gentle blend at the edge. Back to the EO6 with Spiderwort. Opalina with the Eyeshadow 00 so we can deepen up the outer corner. Eyeshadow 03 with no added product so we can blend out the edges again. For shimmer, let's try the shade Drop. I'm just going in with my finger, and let's put that at the third of the eye. Whoa, how cool is that? Towards the center. What a cool shade. For inner third, let's do Drip. I'm just going in with my index finger. I'm putting it right in the, oh wow, look at that. In the inner third spot. Going back in with a little bit more of the drop shade, so we can kind of blend these two shimmers together. I'm thinking I want an even deeper outer corner, so let's try the shade Bronzia. And I'm just using the same Shoto 00, and I'm starting with patting motions. Let's gently pull it across to create a bit of a shadow in the background. I've just dipped into a tiny bit more of the Spiderwort shade with the EO6 from Singe Beauty, and I'm just gonna add that to the edge. And again with the Rabia shade and the Shoto 03. This side of my face is done, so let's finish up this eye look. I want to go back in with the shade Opalina and a Refer 28. Starting at the outer corner, let's just push in some pigment. Gently pull it across. These tones are just beautiful. Now let's take the Refer 02 with a little bit of the Rabia shade, and let's stick that in the front third of the lower lash line. The inner third of the lower lash line. I gapped out for a moment and forgot what words to use. I'm just going to take the Shoto 03 with no added product, just to soften out the edge. And I'm doing it this way because I just want to soften the edge. I don't necessarily want to add the Rabia shade to this outer corner of the lower lash line. Mainly because if you can see, it's got quite a bit of white pigment in it. So I don't necessarily want like a white halo around my eye. So just in this bottom corner, I'm just using this brush to soften out the edge, instead of using a lighter shade to soften out the edge. Okay, I just did eyeliner, mascara, and I added a half lash off camera. Now we can add blush. I'm going to use Fearless Fig and an F05 from Singe Beauty. Ooh, that's pretty. Sometimes purple blushes aren't flattering on me. Oh my goodness, but this one, you guys, isn't that so pretty? Wow. Wow. I'm into this. What do you guys think? Did I already say yet that I love this look? This eye look paired with this blush? So pretty. Alright, for look number 2, let's go in with the shade Prenia and a Shoto 04. Let's start at the outer corner again, just at the brow bone or crease, depending on your eye shape. We're just using this soft matte pink as a transition shade. I wonder if this brush is too diffusing for this shade. Okay, let's switch gears and try an EO8 from Singe Beauty with the same shade, just so we can kind of pack it in, get a little bit, there we go, get a little bit more color payoff, because this pink is pretty light. So yeah, if you ever find that something isn't quite going how you want it to, maybe switch out a brush. Because depending on how many different brushes you have in your collection, they all serve a different purpose. They all do different things. It's just like painting. There's different shapes for what you're trying to achieve when you're painting. That's such a pretty soft pink though, don't you guys think? Now let's go in with the shade Astridia and a BK Beauty 203. Starting at the outer corner, let's just push in some pigment. Wow, pretty. And I'm just using patting motions, and we're pulling it across the lash line. You guys know by now, I love pinks. Let's gently bring this into the crease area. Using small circular motions to blend it out as we get to the top. EO8 with no added product, so we can soften out the edge. Let's deepen up the outer corner with Live Forever. Just going in with Eyeshadow 00. Let's pat in some pigment. Ooh. I love this. That is so pretty. Wow. I love this tone. Do you guys get this excited over eyeshadow as well? So as most of you know, I have every single eyeshadow palette from Singe Beauty. They're all beautiful. They're all so different. They have amazing color stories, amazing formula. I love the Singe formula. Like I said, it makes creating eyeshadow look so easy. They're so easy to work with. Okay, let's bring some of this tone up into the crease area. And look at that blend. They blend so nicely together. Like, I'm using minimal effort here. Minimal pressure, minimal effort. Ooh, I love it. I just have the Pretentious shade, that first matte pink that we used, on a flat shader brush, and I'm just going to add it to the inner third and pull it into this empty space right here. Just slightly. Now let's take the Eyeshadow 04 with no added pigment to further soften out this edge. Okay, for shimmer, let's start off with the shade Damp, and using just my finger, let's pop that in the third of the eye. Oh wow, pretty, pretty. Look at that. And then for the inner third, let's do Mist. Oh, wow. Gorgeous. Now I'm just going back in with a little bit more of the damp shimmer to kind of blend these two together. Going back in with the Live Forever shade just to re-intensify the outer corner and kind of blend in where the shimmer starts. Okay, this side of my face is done, so let's finish up this eye look. I'm going to go back in with the shade Live Forever and E26 from ColourPop. Starting at the outer corner, let's just damp in some pigment. I feel like this burgundy shade also has like a purple undertone to it. So would that make it more maroon? Now taking Prenia on a flat shader brush, and we're just adding this to the inner third of the lower lash line. Gentle blend together. I've just dipped into a tiny bit of the Astridia shade on a BK Beauty 203. This brush is it's pinched, so I want to see if I can just get it at the very edge of the lower lash line. Like that. Now taking a Shoto 04 with no added product on it, just to soften out the edge. Alright, so I just finished up this eye look and now we can add blush. I want to try Pretentious Plum, but because it's so deep and vibrant, I'm going to go in with Nikki's N20 because this brush will diffuse the pigment. Oh wow. That's pretty intense, hey? Good thing I used this brush. That's quite pretty though, don't you guys think? It's a beautiful tone and finish. Alright, so there we have it. Here's the final look for look number 1. And 2. Let me come in close to show you guys. In different lighting. Before we jump into looks 3 and 4, I just want to say again how much I love these looks. Alright, for look number 3, let's start off with the shade Avonia and a Shoto 03. Starting off just at the brow bone. Now let's add the shade Agave and a 205 from BK Beauty. Let's pat down some pigment first. Ooh. Pull it across the lash line. And gently blend it up into the crease area. Pulling it across. Wow, these shades are bright, eh? Let's deepen things up with the shade Aloe and an E05 from Singe Beauty. Let's push in some pigment at the outer corner. Pull it across the lash line. Ooh, look at this. Gently blending it up into the crease area. Look at that. Such high pigment, but so easy to blend. Let's go back to the Avonia shade with an E07 from Singe Beauty. Let's stick that in the inner third. I'm just using patting motions just to push the pigment in. Gentle blend of the edge. Ooh. Alright, let's take this shade and fill in this empty space with the same thing, just using patting motions. That way we keep the majority of the pigment. I would wear this as an all matte look. For shimmer, let's start off with the shade Fog. Just going in with my finger again. Let's put that at the third of the eye. Bringing it towards the center. And for the inner third, let's try the shade Dew. Now using my index finger, let's just plop that right in the inner third. Ooh, cool. Look at that. Going back in with a bit more of the Fog shimmer, just so we can blend these two together. Going back in with the EO5 and a bit more of the Aloe shade, just to re-intensify this outer corner. Back to the Shoto 03 with a tiny bit of the Avanya shade, so we can soften out the edge. All right, this side of my face is done, so let's finish up this eye look. I'm going back in with the shade Aloe and a 204 from BK Beauty. Starting at the outer corner of the lower lash line, let's just push in some pigment. And pull it across. I've just taken the shade Avanya on an EO7. We're just putting that at the inner third of the lower lash line. And blending these two together. And back to the Shoto 03 with no added pigment, just to soften out the edge. Alright, I just finished up this eye look, and now we can add blush. Let's try Classy Cloudberry and an A507 from BK Beauty. Ooh, look at this. Look how pretty these blushes are. My goodness. It has the perfect sheen, and it doesn't emphasize my texture, my large pores. I love these blushes so much. Same thing, let's push in some pigment in the brow bone area. Now let's add Astridia with a 203 from BK Beauty. Stamping some pigment in the outer corner first, along the lash line. And I'm just going to bring this shade up a little bit. And blending it into the crease area. And now let's take Rabia on a Brefra O2. On to look number 4. Let's start off with the shade Prania and an EO8 from Singe Beauty. So I'm just going to add that to the inner third, or the inner corner-ish, and pull it into this empty space. Cool. Going back with Astridia, just to re-intensify this pigment. Let's try Opalina on an EO1 from Singe Beauty. Same thing, I'm just going to push in some pigment at the outer corner. And let's see how the purple and pink blend together. gentle blend up into the crease. Ooh, okay, okay. Let's gently pull it across. Alright, for shimmer, let's do the shade Drop again. And using just my finger, I'm going to put that at the third of the eye. My goal was to have this shimmer go on several of the shades, like several of the matte shades, just to see what it looks like on all of the shades together. Bringing it towards the center. You guys see that? How cool. And now for inner third, let's do Dew. Doo-doo. Alright, just using my index finger, we're going to pop that in the inner third spot. Ooh, how interesting, hey? Now adding some more of the Drop shade just to blend them together. How pretty. Now I'm going to add Bronzia on Eyeshadow 00 and gently put this at the edge just so our outer corner is even deeper. How cool. I'm taking the 203 from BK Beauty with no added pigment just to see if we can add some more of that Astridia tone just to the outside. Slightly. E08 with no added product to soften out the edge. Alright, let's finish up this eye look. I'm going to go back in with the shade Astridia, just on an E26 from ColourPop. And we're going to take this shade a little bit wider so that the pink shade kind of will peek through. E01 with Opalina again. And this one, we're going to take it tight, like keep it as close to the lash line as possible so that we don't cover the Astridia shade. Actually, I'm going to change brushes. This is an E11 from Singe Beauty, just to see if I can get this a little bit more precise. Like that. And using the same brush, I just dipped into the Bronzia. Is that what it was called? Bronzia? The black, matte black shade. Prenia on a flat shader. And Rabia on Nikki's N23. Just so we can get it just right in this little corner. E08 with no added product, just to soften out the bottom edge. I just finished up this eye look off camera so we can go in with blush. This one is Likeable Lychee, and let's go in with a BK Beauty 112. Look at how pretty that is. This one's like a mauvey kind of blush, but still on the cool tone side. Look at that finish. Alright, here are the final looks for look number 3. and 4. Coming in close to show you guys. And different lighting. I love every single look that we've created today. Like, look at this one. It pairs well with the blush, I think. And then this one, a little bit more creative, a little bit more of a mixed color story. Also goes so well with this blush. I'm just so happy. This is another outstanding release from Singe Beauty. I love this color story. These are my favorite colors to work with. Formula does not disappoint yet again. Mattes are super pigmented, easy to blend out, easy to work with. The shimmers are just so pretty and everything works well together. I also love every single new shade of blush. I haven't decided which one is my favorite yet. It's so hard to choose. I think they're all so pretty. What I love most about these blushes is just the finish. Because normally I shy away from non-matte blushes because I have texture and large pores, but every single shade, including the 4 original ones of the Evocative Silk blushes, are just beautiful. The finish is satiny, silky. It's got a bit of a glow, but it does not emphasize my pores at all. I love, love, love these products. As I was saying, I love every single look that we've created today. You guys let me know if you have a favorite. I don't think I do. I think I love every single one equally. But now we've come to the end of this video. Thank you all so much for taking time out of your day to hang out with me. I truly appreciate you all so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, or if it's nighttime for you, I hope you get a good night's rest. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Oh, ha, ha.